Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. This is the second episode that I have for you this morning, and will be the final unless I come up with something else that warrants pulling YouTube up for. This one has 6 articles in it. The first one that I have for you is off of the Conservative Tribune, and all these URLs are in the description of the video, so you can pull them up to get your information, whatever you're researching, off of them. But this first one says, Fox News Fox just cut Will Rollins dash in post-inaugural purge. Post-election purge, Fox News announced it would not be renewing its contributor contracts for several well-known commentators and strategists. Commentator George Will, Republican strategist Ed Rollins, and outspoken conservative actress Stacey Dash have all been cut from the network, according to The Hill. Although the reason behind Fox's decision was not publicly announced, speculation has swirled, particularly about Will, who not only had conflicts with President Donald Trump during the election, but also with popular Fox host Bill O'Reilly. Will, a conservative columnist who joined the network in 2013, was the subject of controversy when he announced his decision to leave the Republican Party over its nomination of Trump for the presidency. In response, Trump tweeted that Will was one of the most overrated political pundits and one who had made many bad calls, including his decision to leave the GOP, according to the Washington Free Beacon. Feuded with O'Reilly in 2015 and 2016 after describing the Fox host's book, Killing Reagan, as nonsensical. O'Reilly responded by calling Will a hack during his heated interview. And there is video in this if you want to pull it up to take a look at it. David Follenflick tweeted, among those you won't hear on Fox News about Trump's first day, George Will, who has sharply criticized both Trump and Fox's Bill O'Reilly. Dash, widely known for her role in the 1995 comedy film Clueless, joined Fox in 2014 and became well known as outspoken conservative commentator who frequently chastised Obama and liberal movements such as Black Lives Matter. She appeared on Outnumbered, where she, in no uncertain terms, argued that Obama did not give a about terrorism. Her comments received harsh backlash from critics and were deemed inappropriate by Fox executives. While Will and Dash's departures from the network were understandably too many, the decision to let Rollins go raised a few eyebrows. Rollins, who served as the national campaign director for President Ronald Reagan and Vice President George H.W. Bush in 1984, joined Fox in 2011. Most recently, Rollins has served as co-chair of the pro-Trump Great America PAC. One of the commentators the network decided to replace these commentators with is Nigel Farage, a former United Kingdom Independence Party leader who has been a vocal supporter of Trump and the Brexit movement for Britain Union. So there you have the information about Fox. The next one we have here is off of the Times of Israel, and it says, senior Palestinian official moving U.S. Declaration of war on Muslims. Jibril Rajab threatens consequences if the new president presses ahead with Jerusalem move. Other officials say Palestinian Authority could ask UN to suspend Israel's membership. Senior Palestinian official warned Sunday that a move by Trump administration to relocate the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem would be perceived as an act of aggression against the entire Muslim world. In our opinion, moving the embassy to Jerusalem is a declaration of war against Muslims, Fatah Central Committee member Jibril, who also presides over the Palestinian Soccer Association, told the Times of Israel in an interview. Rajab, one of the, now it's trying to play something. And we need to get that stopped. I hate it when it does that. I don't know if I got it killed or not. I hope so. My goodness. See, it does that, and then it makes me lose my place. In our opinion, moving the embassy to Jerusalem is a declaration of war against Muslim Fatah, the Central Committee member of the Central Committee member, Jibril Rajab, who also presides over the Palestinian Soccer Association, told the Times of Israel in an interview. Rajab, one of the most powerful figures in Palestinian Authority, President Mohammed Abbas' ruling, warned that it's not inconceivable that the United States will give the Jews the keys to the holy sites in Jerusalem, sites also holy to both Christians and Muslims. If someone among you Israelis think there won't be consequences, making a grave mistake. We are talking about a dangerous step that won't bring stability to the ground, he continued, adding that it contradicts previous United Nations resolutions and the policy of the United States since 1967. And to wave a white flag in front of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu or U.S. President Donald Trump, he declared. Last week, Rajab called Trump a lunatic and a fascist to move the embassy to Jerusalem in an interview translated by Memory, and that's MEMRI. On Sunday, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said talks had begun on moving the embassy, but seemed to indicate that actual move could be a long time away. We are in the beginning stages of even discussing this subject, he said in a statement. And here we go with this thing trying to play again.
I'm Chef Lee Crawford.
I don't think so. Hush.
But you might not know, most probiotics don't survive for
And
use
apparently it's trying to play more than one. I don't know where the other one is.
In natural protective coating,
Okay, well, I got it stopped. Okay. The statement contrasted with reports over the last several weeks that the announcement of the move could come as early as this weekend, but also confirmed that the administration intends to at least entertain the plan despite warnings from the international community that could significantly ramp up tensions in the volatile region. Spicer's statement came before Trump and Netanyahu held their first phone conversation since Trump became president Friday, with the president inviting Netanyahu to visit next month. Neither the White House nor the Prime Minister's office made any mention of the embassy's move in statements sent out following the phone call. Echoed statements made by other officials in the Palestinian Authority and Fatah, as well as declarations by leaders in the Arab world, including the states that are considered moderate and have relations with Israel. Country and I swear to God, this will try your patience. I'll tell you what, since it wants to do that, we're just going to shut it down there. The rest of that one on your own, you're welcome to do so. But I can't have it playing its ads and its stuff on my channel here and get me hit with some kind of a copyright whatever. So, article, let me put it that way, if you'd like to finish reading it yourself. The next one I have is off of breakingisraelnews.com, and hopefully this one won't play a bunch of ads and stuff while I'm trying to read the news. Palestinian official, two-state solution, just pretext for taking over Israel. And there is video in this, and hopefully it won't play while I'm trying to read, but you can pull it up and take a look at it yourself. It says the establishment of a Palestinian state in the West Bank is only pretext for Palestinian to take over all of Israel, said an official with Mohammed Abbas' political party Fatah. Azam al-Ahmad, a Fatah Central Committee member, told official of Palestinian Authority, or PA state TV, that Palestinian state would simply be a stepping stone to a Vietnam-style in which Palestine would swallow up the entire country of Israel. In a video clip translated by the Palestinian Media Watch, al-Ahmad described the Palestinian Authority plan to agree to state on territory that is 22% and perhaps less of the land of historical Palestine, and then eventually take over the territory it was not granted, which would return my historical rights to me in full, unquote. He pointed to historical precedent as a support for the plan, North Vietnam's bloody 20-year war to capture South Vietnam and reunite, or South Vietnam and unite both states under one name. North Vietnam, there was a North and South. What is the name now? Vietnam, he declared. Israeli leaders have often warned that giving Palestinian an autonomous state beside Israel, the ultimate goal of the two-state solution, would present very serious security concerns for Israel rather than encouraging Palestinians to give up violence and terror. The Gaza Strip, which was handed over to Palestinian control in 2005, only to almost immediately dissolve into an enclave controlled by the terror group Hamas, is seen as proof that land for peace is a fractional assumption. So there we have that article, and thankfully it didn't play any ads. The next one here is off of the sleuthjournal.com. It says, former Nazi camp guards receive pensions from U.S. government. Just to scroll, okay, it says, Denziger Jacob is an old Nazi camp guard who worked at the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland. Jacob is 90 now and lives in his native. In 1989, he voluntarily left the United States, where he arrived after the Second World War. He, along with other former Nazi servants, receives a pension paid by the United States government. Today, Jacob is entitled to $1,500 a month, almost double the average salary of a pro worker, as a result of what he says are his contributions to the American Treasury. He does nothing illegal, but he benefits from the fact that no law states that a criminal like him does not qualify to receive pension from the U.S. government. Maybe he receives his pension because he was never officially expelled from the USA, which would have stopped the payments from the Social Security system. This old man is one of dozens of people with a Nazi past that receive their pensions directly from the U.S., even participated in the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children. These cases were uncovered year investigation of the news agency Associated Press. Since 1979, at least 38 of the 66 Nazi suspects who left the United States still receive subsidies from the U.S. government, and of these, at least 4, including Denziger, are still alive and living in Europe, according to research results released Monday. Payments from American coffers have amounted to millions of dollars. The revelation sparked immediate reactions. The White House said it was sad to know that the payments are legal. Our position is that we do not believe that these individuals should be receiving these benefits, said spokesman Eric Schultz. The Justice Department was open to considering any proposed legislative changes on this matter, but more than a decade ago, the bill that would have made any employee of the Nazi Social Security benefits and that would have been asked, and that would have asked him to voluntarily depart the United States failed to pass in Congress. Up to 10,000 participants of the Nazi horror immigrated to this country in 1945 after the end of the World War II. At least 40 people continued to collect welfare benefits after leaving the United States. Those men include agents who protected SS concentration camps, a guard who participated in the slaughter of the Warsaw Ghetto, where some 13,000 Jews were killed, a collaborator who helped in the arrest and execution of thousands of Jews in Poland, and scientists who worked for the Nazis. The Office of Special Investigations of the Department of Justice, founded in 1979, is the body responsible for locating people who collaborated with the Nazis and who many still are and who may still be living in the U.S. For the OSI, the fact that Nazi criminals keep their pensions after leaving the United States was perceived as kind of a lesser evil because it allowed the country to accelerate their departure. Exit from the U.S. increased the chances of them being tried in court in Europe since they couldn't be judged in the United States. According to the investigation, many Nazi collaborators had gotten American citizenship, but the U.S. government did not do anything to revoke them because that process would have taken up to 10 years of legal battles. In parallel, deportation and extradition were also complex because no country wanted to accept these men or were interested in judging their past behaviors. According to diplomatic documents and statements obtained by the AP, the OSI used the pension as a tool to persuade Nazi collaborators to leave the U.S. voluntarily and to accept the loss of citizenship. The Justice Department issued a statement denying this claim. Research shows that these practices enraged the Department of State, the Social Security Administration, and several European countries. However, until last Monday, to the public. Imagine that. The next one we have here is off of, and it says, Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis. Erdogan seeks power to stay in office until 2029. Expect of emergency. Carefully planned move to become legal dictator of Turkey. Stages. In the wake of foiled coup, Erdogan removed and every judge not on his side, shut down all opposition newspapers, and jailed all of his political opponents. After his handpicked court approved of the changes Erdogan wanted, all that remains is a public referendum, which Erdogan will, because he gets to count the votes. Erdogan has begun final push to increase his power as Turkey's president, a goal has sought for years. After the country's parliament agreed to far-reaching constitutional changes that will now be put to referendum. The proposed changes, which were shepherded through parliament on Friday night in alliance between Turkey's ruling AKP and Nationalist Party, Mr. Erdogan's 14-year rule by boosting his formal role as president and allowing him to remain in post until 2029. In a sign of the tensions that may mark the referendum, fistfights broke out in Parliament over several days, while television blackouts of the opposition speeches forced the opposing MP to bring his own cameras into Parliament, only to have his microphone stolen. Since the failed coup and the introduction of the emergency powers, he has ruled the country by decree, and 100,000 people accused of backing the coup have been imprisoned. It is unclear if the president will lift the state of emergency before the poll, scheduled for an unspecified date after April the 2nd, but some of the permanent powers he seeks resemble the emergency powers. Expected permanent emergency. Expected permanent emergency with the increasing power every step of the way to Erdogan. This is likely to continue until he is overthrown in a coup, assassinated, or until Turkey disintegrates into hyperinflation. Chart here that shows Turkish lira down 62% since September of 2010. That's not close to hyperinflation material, but hyperinflation is in an increasing possibility when madmen dictators are in charge. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Angela Merkel is in bed with Erdogan, who wants visa-free access to the EU for some 80 million Muslim Turks. Are German election threats and fireworks due to Erdogan coming up? The next one that I have for you is also off of Mishtalk, and it says, round Socialist primary winner proposes tax on robots, universal income, right of foreigners to vote. France 24 reports Monet Hammond and Manuel Valls take top spots in the first round of left-wing primary in a field of 7 candidates. Let's take a look at other reports, then we'll look at Hammond's amazing platform. Bloomberg notes Valls, Hammond qualify for French Socialist primary runoff. Voting Sunday night, Hammond was first with 35.2%, with Valls on 31.6%, with about 1/3 of voting stations reporting. The primary authority said. Former Industry Minister Armand Montebourg, who was the third with 18.7%, endorsed Hammond, saying that the primary shows that socialist voters want more leftist policies. The voters have massively and seriously condemned the government's policies, Montebourg said. They want the left to return to the path of the left. Platform. Bernard Hammond is 49-year-old former education minister. His platform is universal basic income, tax on robots, progressive taxation of wealth, reduction of tax loopholes, 32-hour work week, legalization of marijuana, National Conference on Environmental Democracy, 50% renewable energy by 2025, differentiated VAT for most vicious, or try that again, gee whiz, my eyes have gone wacky, differentiated VAT for the most virtuous products, ban on pesticides, better repayment for dental care, a sixth republic of the Senate into College of Territories, the right of foreigners to vote in local elections, humanitarian visas and redo of France asylum, consideration of the white vote. If the white vote is a majority vote, and then the election must be postponed. Note that the translation was by Google. I'm told vote blank doesn't mean white vote. It means voting none of the above. French socialists sound crazier than they are. Media antitrust law, labor law repeal to provide additional protection to employees, takeover of SCOP companies by employees, recognize burnout as an occupational disease. That reads like it came from The Onion. However, it's translated from the Bernard Hammond favorite of the primary, his very left program. According to the Financial Times, Mr. Hammond's proposals have been criticized as unrealistic and costly by rivals, including Arnold Montebourg. Backs Hammond because voters want the left to return to the path of the left. In a field of 7 candidates, that platform got Hammond 35% of the vote. Amazing. How did he get there? The new fashioned way. Hammond has a huge following on Twitter. Pen. Should Hammond square off against Marine Le Pen, I believe Pen would win. Le Pen might also win if in the widely expected final matchup against François Fillon, the Republican winner and former Prime Minister of France. Recent political events recent political events are such that anything can happen. Correction, in regards to Hammond's platform, point 16, the translation given was from Google. I am now told vote blanc doesn't mean white vote. It means voting none of the above. So there you have an article that I had for you this morning. If you like what we're doing here, give it a thumbs up and let me know. I can't sit here and just read the news myself and not include everybody, but I like to bring you the news because you're not going to see this stuff on the television set. And be sure and share it on your social media too, so everybody gets to hear the news. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscription button. If you click the bell next to it, a little box pops up and you check that box, you'll get email messages every time I put a show up. And that way you'll stay informed. Have a great day.